dos grandes obstáculos, nascem a força e a vontade de os superar. Uma força maior que a soma das partes, que desafia a criatividade, a disponibilidade e a solidariedade. Os portugueses, quando chamados a lutar por si e pelos seus, nunca desapontaram. E perante um novo inimigo comum, as soluções urgem e os esforços unem-se. É assim que nasce o movimento Tag for Covid-19. Conscientes de que os profissionais de saúde se encontram na linha da frente, pretendemos, através das mais variadas competências envolvidas neste movimento, apoiar e agilizar o combate a esta pandemia. Em menos de 48 horas, uma conversa informal entre fundadores de startups tecnológicas portuguesas transformou-se numa equipa de mais de 600 pessoas, de 120 empresas diferentes das mais variadas áreas de atividade, com um objetivo comum: unir o talento português no desenvolvimento de soluções tecnológicas que ajudem a população a ultrapassar o desafio do Covid-19. Não somos mais B2B ou B2C. Somos H to H, human to human.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Pedro Moura, Head of Talent at Landing.jobs. Just sharing my presentation here. Beginning. Okay, and today I came to talk a bit about future of work regarding mostly tech talent, okay? So regarding Landing.jobs, for the ones who do not know Landing.jobs, we are basically tech talent career managers. So our mission is basically to help professional developers and people who work in IT to make the best career moves, maximizing meaning and happiness. Basically, what we are trying to do is to help everyone who works in this industry to maximize what they earn for one side and their happiness and freedom from the other. Okay. Regarding the future of work, there's a lot of possible frameworks to address this topic. There's a lot of opinions, and I'm basically going to express my own opinion. So this is a bit of futurology, as the name says. I'll be basically using a framework based on 5 Ws. Could be using any other, but I found that this one was fun. So, and basically we'll talk about what work will be done in the future, who will do it, when will it be done, how will it be done, and finally, where will it be done, okay? So regarding the what, sorry. Yeah. Just a minute, please. So, okay. Is it okay now? Okay, sorry all. So starting again regarding future of work, Pedro Moura, how are you? So Landing.jobs again, and the framework for the 5 Ws, okay, the what, the who, the when, the how, and the where, and we're going to go over each one of these 5 topics. So to start with, the what work. So what will be the work that will be needed to do in the future? I would say that there's a lot of IT spending nowadays in terms of HR in business as usual. What I call business as usual, it's basically maintenance tasks, things that support the continuity of the systems. So things that basically its resources are allocated to keep the machine rolling. And then on the other end, we have innovation. So the usage and the development of technology and the usage of technology as a lever to increase in the more disruptive possible way businesses. My prediction is that business as usual will lower, at least in terms of developers, and that the people allocated to innovation will increase. Why? Because more and more the competition or the competitive edge that technology can bring will not be manifested in the companies that will win by using people for the business as usual tasks. This will need to be automated as further as possible, so that these companies can basically focus their efforts, their HR, their developers, their IT people on innovation, okay? Second, it's basically the work will need to be more focused on experience, mostly be experience for customers, being customers, the internal employees of a company or public in general, and not process. There's still a very industrial way to the industrial view to the way that systems are developed nowadays. So, you start analyzing and defining the processes and trying to understand what are the work and the business processes of companies, and then trying to emulate or to create systems that basically follow these same processes. Technology will be used more and more in a different way. The focus will not be on the internal processes, but on the experience of the stakeholders that are the customers of the company or anyone that interacts within or with the company. In terms of the type of approach, so there's still, I began working in 99, and things have evolved a lot in terms of the way that the IT departments work, but there are some things that are still alive. Big companies, they usually tend to have a big bang approach to projects. So big, expensive, long in time, sometimes in the end of the project, people don't know anymore what they are doing because the mission and the goal of the development of that system was lost along the way. And now more and more, the companies will adopt a lean approach, so in an iterative way, based on architectural principles that allow for a more flexible development of new features, of new capabilities will be followed. So no more, or at least we really hope that no more of the big IT teams, to support this or to develop that project. Smaller teams, as we will see in the remaining of this presentation, and things being done more fast, and sometimes things being done to be put on the garbage, kind of try and error approach. And finally, one thing that it's very important, and this is being said that is important, well, since I studied and I worked so a long time ago, is the co-creation. The co-creation concept, it's basically having IT working in tandem with business, whatever any kind of business function might be. This is very important because, as we will see, one of the main things that needs to be done and needs to be is using a value-based perspective on the IT function. Sometimes, when the IT department of a big company has the budget for the IT projects, things do not go very well because these guys basically just want to have as many budget as possible, to have as many people as possible, and they don't give, sometimes two fucks about what business needs. More and more, the IT budget is going to business departments, and then they provide that budget to the IT function. Okay, so co-creation with business guarantees a bigger alignment with the IT function and the business goals that exist. So this is the what, in terms of what work will be done. In terms of the who, well, I would say that the regular people, so the average IT guy or girl, will basically start losing more and more relevance and consequently also salary and freedom to the top talent. And when I say top talent, it's not necessarily the person that is the best coder. That's not what I mean at all. It's basically the professional who can basically cope with the needs that exist in a given context, So people that sometimes have something different that can make that skill or that small particularity, if used well, as something that is a clear differentiator regarding the rest of the team. There's another class of people that is going to work in IT more and more, which is less qualified people. I have not placed them here. I'll call them well, it's a bad name, it's kind of the mediocres. Basically, people will be working together with IT, with support functions, but those will be less and less well paid, So being a top talent, it's not necessarily for you to be in the best university, the best college, to have the most well-paid job. Sometimes it's none of this. It's basically for you to be able to have something that you can take advantage of and give advantage of to the company, okay? One of the things that we also do and that will make part of this top talent skill set, it's basically continuous reskilling and upskilling. So adaptability and flexibility to be on par with everything that is new will be very important. I'm not talking about someone being specialist in every language, every framework, every business knowledge, not that, but basically the ability to go for a new project, and if needed for one to adapt, it's more and more important. From my own experience, someone who is a very good programmer and a team member in a given language usually has much easy capability to adapt to another language. So it's the kind of adaptability skills that I'm talking about here. And then the skills that will be more and more valued by the companies will be autonomy. So the ability to manage your self-work and to have responsibility for what you're doing and delivering at the 100%, not at the 99%, closing things, creativity. So being able to have a different approach and some lateral and critical thinking on the problems, try to find new solutions. So that this is where usually innovation comes from. Communication is very important. Written communication, oral communication, soft skills, empathy. More and more will be valued by teams, because the talent itself, the people working in IT, which are good, they will not support, the persons who are not able to be team members and communicate. Those persons will be the last ones to be picked for the football game team. And finally, collaboration. This is not a new, but I think that sometimes developers still need that. They don't really have to collaborate with their teams or with, for example, the business departments or people, as long as they are great coders. This is not true anymore, and in the future it will be even less. Okay. Finally, obviously, there will be a lot more of algorithms doing things that humans do nowadays, and this is not a threat. On reverse, it's a very good thing, because the stupid tasks that sometimes people think, okay, I have to be converting this, Excel document or doing something stupid repeatedly because there's no process to do it. Algorithms will be more and more available to replace even tasks that up until now are specifically attributable to coders. The low-code platforms, for example, in some ways fill this niche, but there will be more and more advanced algorithms to do things that only humans do nowadays, leaving humans to do more interesting things or to create more algorithms. Okay. Next, when will it be done? So when will work be done? The future of work. Well, I think that not 9 to 5 for sure. I think that so working in a synchronous way, not having to be always available all the time will more and more be the rule. And with this crisis that we're facing now, people have to face that the companies that are forcing their employees, for example, working from home, to be always available. Well, I would bet that these workers, if they can, after this, will search for jobs in companies that allow for a more sync perspective, because flexibility will grow for sure. And the desire for flexibility will be something that will be searched upon by talent, and that the companies that are more able to provide work in this way will get the better people. Okay. Another thing that I think will also change more and more, it's the full-time job versus what I call tours. Tours is something that we sometimes hear, those guys who work for 6 months in the North Hemisphere and then they go 6 months to the South Hemisphere. An extreme, of course. But when you pass from having the need, to have a stable contract with a full-time job, and you basically understand the value that tech talent has in the market, has a lot of undiscovered value, and defines that wants to have a different life, like, for example, working something like 9 months per year and having 3 months vacations, and some companies do not allow this. Okay, you don't allow it, I will not go there. But the companies that will do will get the better talent more and more. And this is a possibility as of now. How will it be done? So the how, basically, I have this premise that more and more, it will not be the activities that count, but results. By activities, we can measure, okay, I've delivered functionality B and I've, done task A, B, and C, and that's it. No, people, the IT people, developers, etc., will need to focus on results, not the number of activities that they have put or the time that they have spent on it. It will be results. And this is a paradigm change, which is very important. Talent will value companies that act based and organize themselves based on results, not on the list of activities that person A, B, or C have done. This is not merit. Activities is not merit. Results is merit. And this is very important. Then agile, everyone talks about agile. Everyone has story points and scrums and etc. But there will need more and more to be a bigger plan for the agile to be able to operate. Because what is happening in some companies that have adopted agile is that everyone is really content, but in the end, you have a big list of activities and features that you have done, but not necessarily results. So there will need to be there will be a need to have plans, and plans is not strict plans, but at least directions. Okay, we want to achieve that big business goal. Like I want to grow this business department revenue in 10 times in a year, and then giving the business people and the IT people the autonomy and the freedom to think how they will achieve that. So results, not activities, agile, but with a plan, with goals. Then the organizational chart, like, okay, I'm in team of quality assurance, or I'm in the team of supporting CRM or whatever, will be more and more replaced by squads. Squads is basically, a group of people that gets together with different personalities and skills and capabilities to purchase a limited in time goal or task or development or whatever. And these squads will be very flexible. They will be network teams with a connection team to team, T2T, as I call it. So this organization in network teams allows organizations to scale not only internally, but also with external teams, being them from consultancy firms or other sources, or with teams from partners, for example. So breaking the organizational chart with rigidity will be definitely one of the things, and this is already being seen, that will be a clear trend in the future, And the more people are able to adapt to being in a squad now, but in 3 months being in a different squad, tackling a different problem with having to learn a new language or a new skill, that will be the norm. And the ones who are able to do that will have a big advantage over the ones that prefer to have a more sedentary professional career. Continuing to the where, well, obviously remote will grow. And amidst the times that we are living, this is clearly a trend. And what I think is that once some of, at least us talent, have really tasted this, well, I don't think there's a big coming back to the office, at least not for a full-time office work. So obviously remote will grow. The advantages of remote for the persons and for society are more than clear now. So we have this, we are amidst this fucking crisis, but at the same time, this is also a huge opportunity to test things that up until now we can only dream about. So we need to make the best out of it. And one of the best things is, okay, it will be proven that remote works. And this is very important, that people can work remote and feel and be productive and not having afraid to search for companies that privilege or that give the possibility of working remote. I personally don't believe that everyone has the capability or the personality to work full remote, and there's no need for it. There's not a one size fits all. The remote, it's a tool that needs to be used in balance with office presence, with other things. Okay, but remote will grow, and people need to learn more and more how to work remote. Distributed teams will also be something that will grow. So talent is scarce. IT talent is scarce, and focusing just on local talent will prevent companies from having access to talent from other parts in the world that are available. So companies will open more and more to be able to incorporate people from other geographies, from other cultures in their own teams, creating more distributed, more diverse teams. And this will also be very interesting, because when you privilege diversity, funny things will happen, Very funny things will happen, like having different perspectives onto the resolution of problems being brought to the table. And that can be a huge plus for the companies that are able to use it well. Well, basically, talking about where, also, most of the where nowadays, it's in the digital work tools. This is one of the things that has been growing as hell in these times. And people will learn more and more to use these tools, not as a full replacement for physical presence, but the complement for the physical presence that might exist. Okay, it's very important, because we can, if we abstract thought enough, we can understand that this is a country by itself. It's a planet by itself, the digital planet, where most of the things, the reality lives nowadays, and will live more in the future. This is very important to embrace this paradigm and to basically go full digital, creating the memory of what we do, creating possibility of synergies that are not possible in the physical world. There's a lot of possibilities here. And then the moving to the country, returning to the physical world. Well, nowadays, if someone wants to go to a place which is not a big city, that's more and more possible. And that's a very good thing, even to try to counterbalance the rural balance that exists between the urban and the rural areas. Not everyone will be wanting to go to a quieter place, but the ones who won't will be able to do it. The 6W, the why. It was not in the first five, but I think that this is very important, because we need always, I think, to ask why. But why are we doing this? Why should there be a future of work different from what is now? I like these three things: the freedom and the happiness. The freedom is the freedom that we have, or that we can have, to decide our own lives, not having to depend on others, being them employers or whatever, or society, to tell us what we need to do. I think it's a fundamental desire of the human being to be free. The meaning, having a meaning in what we do. So work not being only work, because if work is only work, the thing that we have to do 9 to 5 just to earn a salary, and it doesn't mean anything else besides that, that's shit. That's just time wasted. Meaning in a job, in a work, it's something that we need to have more and more. And as a result of all this, happiness. Happiness is a different thing for each one of us, for sure. Well, but we can say when we are content or happy or not, being it what it be. And the final why, it's because it's possible. That's one of the things that I'm always trying to tell to other people. And I manage people, software developers, for almost all my life, and I've seen so many cases of people who basically they do harm to themselves by having afraid of change, by having a constant fear of losing stability and whatever. And man, there's a huge imbalance between the offer and demand in the IT talent market. Companies want much more people than exist as IT developers. So I still don't believe when I hear someone saying, okay, that company gave me a job. No, we gave our work to that company. We opt by that. It's not a company that has chosen us. At most, it's a date, or a marriage, if you want to call it, something like that. But it's not, oh, the company gave me a job. That's over, completely over. Now that it's possible for this to be over, at least for IT talent. So we are a privileged class, and we should try to use it as best as possible. And the first thing we should do is to improve our life and not being afraid of the future. That's one of the main messages I want to leave you. Well, so takeaways. The what work based on value and co-creation. Who will do it? Mostly top talent. Okay. So if you want to really be a winner on this, you need to discover how to be a top talent yourself. And again, one size does not fit all. When? So more flexibility and more asynchronous mode of working in the future. How? Agile with squads, okay? But mostly agile also with a plan. Where? In a digital world and anywhere at the same time. And the why? It's why not? So the future of work, it's our future of work, and we can do of it whatever we want. Just to conclude, because there was in the description of this event, there was many questions. I think I have asked a lot of those, but there was one question specific for Portugal, and this is the question: will remote work become more standard in Portugal? And I think yes, a bit more, but Portugal has a very bad culture in terms of work. We are very respectful, the respeiting of the hierarchy and of being put out. And I think that most companies will default to the old ways. This is a pity, but the good thing that I think will come most out of this is what I've already referred to. The talent, the persons, the IT professionals will have realized they can work remote and be productive, and will seek more and more remote work in the companies that provide them. And this is the power that talent has regarding the freedom to build and to choose their own future. Most of the companies are more conservative than we, IT talent, should be. Not a message of hope, it's a message of strength. We have this strength. We have the strength to do something different, to change the world, and that begins by changing ourselves, not being afraid. Go and search the best possible options for our career. Finally, this is just a corollary. I really believe that career management, tech career management, will be a new job. Unfortunately, I have a lot of people who are software developers that, well, they definitely need a career manager because the options that they do or that they don't do are not good. And my advice is you should try to find one for yourself in the future. Okay, a career manager will be someone that will help you focus on what you do best and take care of the shitty details of your career, like raises, negotiations, etc., etc., etc. But just an advice, and that's it.
Thanks very much, Pedro, for the webinar. It was very interesting. Do you want to leave your email if for someone who that have questions?
I think it's here, pedro.moura@Landing.jobs.
Cool. It was very interesting.
Sorry.
I'm gonna send to everyone then the link. So if people have questions, please contact us. Once again, thanks very much, Pedro. You guys are awesome partners. I really like the stuff that Landing.jobs doing, and I think that's great. Thanks again. And if you guys have questions, just please email us. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye, everyone.